Welcome to Bodybuilding Unplugged,
the new podcast keeping you up to date and behind the scenes for the competitive season and beyond.
with your hosts, director and head coach of Team Poser with Hannah and competitive natural bodybuilder, Hannah Mitchell.
And DFAC Pro and multi-time British figure champion, Zena Al-Kalabi.
Tune in and let us know what you think. Welcome back to Bodybuilding Unplugged, Series 2, Episode 1.
Yes, we've decided to go with Series 2 because it's a new year, so we can kind of 2025, fresh start, fresh series.
Fresh series, fresh season, fresh topics, fresh guests. We are back with a bang. This is going to be a big year for bodybuilding, for both of us, for everything. So it's very, very exciting. But before we do crack on with 2025 and what is to come, I do believe we need a big catch up. So the last time we spoke on here was via an episode regarding coach hopping and things like that. And then you went off to America.
Yeah. And then
tell us everything.
I don't actually know where the time's gone since then. I think after Ethan's prep, then we were in this weird limbo period, kind of like Christmas New Year period, where you don't really know what you're doing, but then you're kind of just there hovering. And obviously Ethan was reversing from his prep, but I was still in my diet phase, so we couldn't really do anything together. We couldn't go out for food or anything like that. So then it was kind of that weird period before America. And then obviously we went away to America for almost 3 weeks, which was...
It was almost 3 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks it was.
2 weeks.
12 days. Yeah, I always think it was longer because we did so much in it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So, where did you start?
So we flew into Miami, spent 2 days there and had a hire car. And then we drove from Miami up to Orlando, spent 4 or 5 days there.
Before you do continue, I think their listeners and myself will need to know all the gyms that you did visit, because you did your research. You didn't just, we'll go here. You went and found the gyms. Yeah. So where did you, was there somewhere in Miami?
So yeah, there was actually, we obviously trained at loads of different gyms, and it was kind of weird because they almost got better through the trip, bar 1 or 2. But in Miami, we went to Miami Iron Gym or something like that, and it was really, really old school bodybuilding. All of the pieces of kit were really old. Everyone in there was an absolute steroid head. It was but to the point where you walk in and I have never felt so small in a gym in my life. I walked in and I was just I feel I don't need
to lift. Yeah.
Everyone in there, the girls were the biggest Brazilian girls I've ever seen, and I was just there just fresh out of a diet, a little I was just
I was about to say, I bet Ethan was loving life, standing there
he had great pumps, and he actually, he could probably comparably on size with some of the men there, but me now was freaking the size of one of their legs. So I was just there it's really weird because I never anymore kind of feel insecure in a gym.
You don't compare. You're very good at that. You're I'm in my own lane, whatever's
Yeah, but I think that was the first time in a long time that I was there, and I was I actually feel a little bit uncomfortable, but in my own way. It was just a bit I wasn't looking at them oh god, they're probably thinking, who is that? I was I just want to be that big, and it made me feel just really small. But the gym itself was really good fun. It's probably not somewhere that I would want to train every day. But it was can't fault it. Nice, nice kit. It was pretty cool to go to. And that was the only one we went to in Miami. And then drove up to Florida, up Florida into Orlando. And we trained on the way at the, the Raw Revive gyms, Chris Bumstead's ones.
Yes. Yeah.
The Revive one, which is the only one that you can go into because Raw is like members only.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, this will be like, some people will be like, what? But like, it wasn't, I didn't really like it because the gym itself, like every single bit of kit you could ever imagine. Like you walk in and it has everything. Obviously, like Prime is like made in USA, isn't it? Like it has every bit of kit like you could ever think about. But it gave like David Lowe's Health Club vibes. Like there was no bodybuilders in there. Like it was like weird like music. Like it was so like perfectly clean everywhere, and there was like it wasn't a gym that you could imagine being like a bodybuilding gym, you know?
Ripping like someone ripping like dirty weight off the floor,
It, obviously, like if you don't know about kit, which nobody in there did, like they definitely don't know what they've got. Do you know what I mean? But it was very much like it just shows like you can have everything in the world, but without the right atmosphere, like it would never be like the best gym. And I would rather like slightly worse kit, like the Miami one, but it actually have like people like training, not just exercising, you know?
Big difference. That's actually such a good statement. Training, not just exercising. Ooh, I like that.
Oh, you like that? So like, it was like honestly like cool to go to, you know? Like it was a gym that like you tick off your gym bucket list. But like I wouldn't go back. Like there was no reason for me to go back. Unless I was in that area, which I wouldn't be because the area there isn't anything there. It was in between Miami and Orlando, so it was like we stopped off to go there. But yeah, I mean, like it was cool,
maybe that's probably one of the reasons, because it's probably like just people who live around there that go, because people like on holiday or something like that, they're not necessarily going to go to that area, so
like,
that makes sense.
Exactly. So like it was cool, but it wasn't like, you know, people probably watch like YouTubes of people in that gym, and like it's definitely not somewhere that like I would go, because unless you've got like Olympians in there at that moment, there is nothing special about it.
Yeah, I hear that.
And then in Orlando, obviously did like not gym wise, but did like Disney and stuff, which was really cool.
Love that. That's so good. Were you doing like daily dumps?
Like place
almost.
Dumps.
Yeah. I think everyone was actually living for those.
I know. I had so many people like, I'm living through your stories right now, and you know,
I was
semi like conscious of like I don't want to just spam everyone, but then everyone was just like liking them, so I was like, okay,
shut up. No, we wanted to see it. We were all just basically pretending we were with you, right?
I love that. But like I love seeing people's like holiday photos and stuff, especially when like you live like lifestyles like we do. Like I spent like the whole of last year pretty much just like bodybuilding like the whole time. So it was
working. Like you work ridiculous hours. Do not negate that, please.
So it was kind of just like, do you know what? Like I am just gonna relax. Like I didn't track a single thing. It was just like it was just nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, I came. Yeah, I know.
Wow. I was just about to say, like, that's probably a good little like pause before we continue the gym tour, but like so you didn't track a single thing and you came back the same body weight. Did you find that you were, because you've got so much knowledge and experience, like let's be honest, it's not the same as anyone going and not tracking. You're going to be able to look at something and be like, that's about 30 grams of protein. Were you kind of actively almost being hungry, do you find?
Kind of to some extent, but like I would say like I was probably more restrictive than like somebody that would be like just going to America and like having fun. And don't get me wrong, like, there were certain times where I was like I wouldn't mind like having that or like having more of that. But then for me, like coming back a similar weight was more important than like things that I didn't really need. So it was like it's quite nice being with Ethan, because Ethan's the opposite. He just like he can just completely switch off and just go and enjoy himself and sort it out when he comes back. So it just meant like I could try things that he had without having like all of it. But my days normally would just be like protein like throughout the day, and then like a nice dinner or something. And if I wanted to try anything in the day, like I would have it. But yeah, like I'd probably say like with the step count I was doing, I was probably in a slight deficit, but like it just meant like I came back and didn't feel bad, you know? So
yeah,
I don't know, I've done it so many times. Like when I travel, I tend to undereat anyway. But it was important not to let body weight drop even more, especially after the diet. So it was kind of like I took my scales with me, and like if I was like
okay, good.
1 or 2 days I was like up by like 2 or 3 pounds. So then the next day I would just rein it in a bit, and then it just went like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's perfect. I think if you are within that phase where you're so sensitive, like as in body responsive sensitive,
yeah,
I think that's just being smart. It's not being over restrictive. It's not
yeah,
being like too on it, like, oh, can't, it's not. If anything, it's just being like, right, yes, I've had little things that I want to enjoy. Right, what's my body weight saying the next day? Okay,
yeah,
you know, I actually, to be completely honest, I did very similar over the Christmas period,
yeah,
where there were a few days where I like had maybe like only protein, then had what I wanted in the evening, then kind of assessed the morning after, right, okay, gonna pull back a little bit from today. Following day after that, I'm back down. Like, it's
right.
just being smart about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think like it comes with time. Like we've done it for so long, we can like make those decisions. And I think with holidays, like everyone has their own way, don't they? And like for me, like that's my way, which is obviously different to Ethan's way, which is different to your way. And like at the end of the day, no way is right or wrong. It's just whatever's like best for you, and that makes you happiest. Do you know what I mean?
I was gonna
Um,
say, like, a holiday should be about de-stressing, right?
yeah,
And so choosing what's gonna make you happier is what's gonna be important, because I know for a fact if I went away, came back 6 kilo heavier, I'd be stressed. Like,
so
that
yeah,
wouldn't be productive. Like, it wouldn't make me happy. So I'm okay with a couple of kilo. Like, it obviously
yeah,
depends on the phase, but yeah, no, that's really great, mate. So
yeah.
after Orlando, where did you go?
So another gym we went to in Orlando area,
Oh,
it's
right.
like Kissimmee, was the Kissimmee Muscle, and that was like so fucking good. Like, you know, it's one of those
Yeah,
gyms where I'm like, I could imagine living there and training there every day. You know, it was like they were
that's
so
cool.
good,
Yeah.
yeah, so welcoming. I really loved the kit. They had a dog. Like, if any gym has a dog, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, sure. I spent the whole fucking session stroking the dog, like, but it was great. um, It was so
Super
great.
set. Rest pause with dog cuddles.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? Ethan was like, "Where's my spot?" And then there she is, stroking the bloody dog. So, yeah, so that
It's
was
worth
good.
it. It's
Yeah, it
worth
was
it.
like so much history there. Like, it was just all around like a great gym. They were so welcoming, and they just like, yeah, it was just amazing. So that was like Orlando. We did go to another gym, which is like Iron Religion, or I always forget the name, but that one again was really good. Like I would go there again. It had like literally like 10 rooms of kit. It's actually just mad how big the gyms are. Like I've never seen anything like it.
10
Uh,
rooms.
it was just mad. Like it just you'd think it'd end and then it'd keep going. It was just um and then we went to New York after that, flew into New York.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean the highlight of that gym wise was obviously Bev's gym. Like, wow, I've never been anywhere like it. It's just my favourite gym I've ever been to. And that takes a lot to say when you've been to so many
Yeah.
gyms. It's
Yeah.
very similar to like Das Gym vibes. Where like you've just got memorabilia everywhere, like really cool kit, really cool people in there. Like it was just, yeah, it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think I'd seen, was it like Loz and AJ? I think maybe they'd gone there before. Or actually, I think it was potentially even Marnie. Yeah, it was Marnie that she'd gone to New York and she was posting
Yeah,
about it, and it looked like, you say, like the whole memorabilia everywhere. Like, it's like a proper bodybuilding gym where there is the history and you're kind of like looking around, you're inspired, you're excited.
it was
No,
just
that's
like
cool.
I could have stayed there all day. Like it was that kind of vibe where I was like, I just want to
Yeah.
be here all day. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like bodybuilders everywhere. And I was just like, wow, like this will be such a contrast to the gym I train in every day.
Yeah. Wait, where do you train?
I train in UFit, but there's approximately 4 bodybuilders in the gym.
Ah, right. Fair. So was that the end? Was New York the last place?
Yeah, so finished in New York. We were there for Thanksgiving, which sounds really nice, but it was absolutely pissing down with rain. So instead of watching the parade, we watched it in our hotel room on the TV.
Oh, well, that still sounds lovely.
The weather was just so bad. Like, New York and events, like, they look so pretty on pictures and the TVs, but there's just so many people. And it's just like, oh, no. Like, no.
I went to New York for like 4 days or something a couple of years back, around Christmas time, and I got pneumonia on the first day, and I'd never been so ill in my life, but it was because the weather was so bad. Like, it was so cold, and I mean,
everyone that goes there comes back ill. Like, I was ill for a month.
That being said, right, don't know what the hell has been going on December. I mean, I know we're in January now. Everyone and their dog has been ill.
I know.
And it's been like bad illness as well. It's like, like you've just said, like pneumonia for a lot of people. Like, it's been like proper bugs, people like throwing up and everything. So
have you been ill? Have you managed to escape it?
So I had that the other day. What was it? Monday, right? Monday, woke up, mate, and I was like, oh my God, it's got me. It's finally got me. I thought my head was going to explode. You know, when it's like that pressure headache. I was like, oh my God. So my alarm went off at like 6, woke up, felt like, I was like, oh, here we go. You know, as well, when you're in a medical field, you're like, you kind of self-diagnose, but not in a bad way. You're just like, well, it's either tonsillitis, laryngitis, da-da-da-da-da. With this head, I was like, this ain't a vibe. So I actually just cancelled things in the morning, which I've never been able to do, right? So I was like, whoa, like, this is new. And I would never cancel things anyway, but I was like, I know that I'm really not well. And I actually reset my alarm for 9, thinking, oh, I'll doze. And I went straight back to sleep and woke up from my alarm. And then I kind of like took the day. It was a rest day anyway, but I just like, I didn't think about, like steps or anything like that. I did do work, but like at a slow pace, and I was sitting on the settee. And weirdly enough, by about 5 p.m., I was like, I think I'm all right. And I seem to have like managed. I mean, I did the whole vitamin C, all of that jazz. So I just did what I knew I needed to do, if that makes sense. But I've been very lucky. Touch wood, because I guess I still could. What was yours? What happened to you?
Well, it started like kind of in America, but I kind of ignored it. Like a few days in Florida, I had like the really sore throat, like really hard to swallow, but I was like, oh, like, it'll be fine. And I'd wake up and be like, no, like I need to go get some like medicine or whatever, but I just kind of push it off. Yeah. And then I kind of just put it on standby. Then we flew into New York, and like the flight was really bad. Like I had the worst, like when you're ill, I've never actually flown ill before, but like the pressure in my head. I've never experienced anything like it. Like I had shooting pains like going through my head. It was awful. And then obviously like when we got into New York, like the adrenaline of New York kind of just like, I was like, oh, just ignore it and keep going. And then towards the end of New York, I was like, do you know what? Like me and Ethan one day didn't set an alarm, and we both woke up at like, I think it was like 11 in the morning. And I was like, we both like 6 a.m. wakers. And I woke up and I was like, I think it was like the last day. I was like, I actually feel like dead. Like, it was so bad. And then the flight home from America, I was like, yeah, like, I know I'm not okay. So came back, and then on the drive home from the airport, I like stopped at the supermarket, like got all the drugs in the UK, because they're like fine. I'm really scared about buying like drugs abroad. So anyway, got all my
yeah. Oh my God, you're so right. I hadn't even thought about that.
I was like going to the counter, and I was like, I don't know what's nasty, so I was like, I'm not going to take anything. And Ethan was like, you're actually so silly. And I'm like, well, no, you just don't know. Like, you don't know.
You don't.
especially over there, like, you can get anything over the counter. So I was like, I'll wait till I get back. So literally landed in the UK, drugged myself up, and then this is where I went wrong. Like that, the next week and a half, I just went straight back into full-time work. And I was like coughing, like throat was bad. I was like really, really ill. But I was like, no, like, I can't take it. I've never ever taken a sick day in my life. So I was like, I can't take a sick day. And then it got to the Saturday afterwards. I woke up and I was like, I'm not okay. So I phoned the out of hours doctors. I went there and they were like, oh, like your temperature's like 40 degrees. You have crackles all over your chest. They were like, you are not okay. And I was like, I know. So then I went on antibiotics. I know. I was like, oh God, I feel so bad. And then I went on antibiotics for a week. But then during that week, I also had already planned a trip to Bucharest, which I went with my friend. So I was like, almost like trying to get better. But then I had this trip planned and I was like, I'm not going to not go. So I went on this trip. I came back, finished my antibiotics, and I was like, I feel like I can function. But that was 3 weeks ago now, and I still don't feel normal.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So it lasted for 4 weeks, and I think we're about 7 weeks now, and I still feel like, okay, I'm out of breath.
What? Okay, so this weekend, do you have plans, or are you going to sit the fuck down?
No, I have plans. I'm going to Chester Zoo with Meg.
Right, well, okay, that sounds like a great day.
It's my own fault. But yeah, I think like it's just, I don't know if it's like long COVID or what, but
well, if you think about it, mate, like even if you think about traveling in itself, like it sounds like a great idea, and obviously it's a great idea. It sounded incredible, but that is tiring. Like that's not a sit down holiday. Like that's going to take a lot out of you, so your body's going to be pretty fucked from that.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of leads in my side onto like 2025 plans. But do you want to catch up with any of your like December runs first? Anything of work?
Mate, let me get me fucking calendar because I don't even know what I did yesterday. Let me have a little look. Oh yeah, did that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, I had quite a nice December actually. So
you were busy, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was well busy. I felt in December, I was like, oh yeah, December, like everything's probably gonna slow down. It did last year. Like I remember last December and I was kind of like not panicking, but I was like, oh my God, like what's happened? And this December, I was literally like, I've got too much to do.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was good. And you know what? It just shows like everyone was just getting on top of their year. They were just planning ahead. They were starting posing now, like talking about even packages and things to make sure that they didn't miss out on a slot going into the new year. But I did make sure I had time away for sure. And that's, you know what, that's probably why I was more busy because I had a weekend in Matlock, I think it's called. So it's like Derbyshire, and I just went to like a cute cottage with my 2 uni mates, and it had like a hot tub, and oh my God, mate, there was goats. There was goats on the actual thing, on the actual land. Yeah, and you know, just spent like the day, for example, like went on I say a hike, it was like a very flat but walk, went to like a cute little country pub, little things like that, and just had a catch up because they're both, I mean, one's married and one's basically married, right? So they are the same age as me, well, us, but like they have very different lives, right?
Really?
So so it's, you know, they're not in bodybuilding. Yeah, I love it. Like they're not in bodybuilding in the slightest. Like so whenever we have a weekend, like it's just really nice to have that proper catch up. Like speak about, for example, the one friend that's like married, she's like been basically living married life and all of this jazz and they're both within cancer fields, obviously what I was in previously. So catching up and almost like living that segment. Like, oh yeah, tell me what research are you doing at the minute, and so it's always really good to meet up with them. So that was really, really lovely. And then what did I do? I went to Cheltenham for the weekend.
Oh, I saw that looks sick.
Yeah, it was so good. So I went and I had a couple of clients, but I didn't have them at the shed because I think I remember something along the lines of the posing room hire was like £100. And I was like, okay, can't really afford that. So I did the posing lessons like elsewhere, and just like ended up obviously training out the shed for a couple of days as well. But it was just so good. Like what you said when about like America, there's some gyms, I mean, I've been there before, the shed, obviously, but like there's some gyms you go to and you kind of think, I could live here, you know? I could train here.
I think like the last few times I've been to the shed, I've said to Ethan, I was like, I can see us living here. Like, which is really weird because like before this year and before we had this house, I was like, I can't see myself living anywhere except Cardiff. But now I'm starting to be like, I live up north anyway. But like for me, that's
up
like
north.
Well, Ethan's always wants to be up north. But for me,
like,
it's like
are we talking?
Rotherham.
Are we talking like
It's just too far from home, you know.
Yeah. I mean, so yes, we stayed in like a little annex in Cheltenham, and it was like Cleve Hill, and so you open the doors, mate, and it was just like hills, obviously. Hills.
So nice.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. I literally spent one of the evenings like looking on Rightmove because I was like, I could just imagine, you know, the cute little villages with the coffee shop and everything. 15-minute drive to the sheds, like that's the life for me. And then other than that, I had my first in-person like full day at EP Jungle, which was
nice.
Mate, yeah, so good. I mean, I was booked 10 till 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big day. But and then other than that, it's just been pretty standard, I guess. Had a lovely Christmas as well. Spent a bit of time with my family, which was really, really lovely. Yeah, so then that leads to January, and I can't even believe that we're a week in already.
I don't honestly. I'm like in work. Obviously, I have to write the date down like every consult if I'm doing like vaccine cards or signing off paperwork, and I have to write like 2025. And like every time I write it, I'm like, what?
Surely
like,
not. Surely not.
And then it's like vaccine next due 2026. I'm like,
what?
Mad.
I did come to the realization a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I'm 29 this year. That means I'm 30 next year.
Oh wow.
30 next year.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
That's not a vibe. I'm not here for that one.
I just don't know. The time's just going so fast. Like honestly, baffling my brain.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be an exciting year. Like it's gonna be like I'm so excited because like the first half of the year for me is always a little bit boring, but then the second half is always so exciting with like shows and things like that. But
yeah,
I guess I'll start because mine is quicker than yours is going to be. But honestly, I think last time we spoke, I was like, oh, like maybe prepping this year, maybe prepping next year, wasn't I? But I think after we finished the diet and the fact that towards like the end of the diet, I was like hormonally not in a very good place. Like my body weight started stalling. Like quite like not like, it wasn't really, it just stopped responding, and then I missed my period, and it was just showing signs that like my body wasn't actually like ready to be pushed any further, which is when we kind of concluded the diet. And then obviously then I went away for like 2 weeks, and then I got ill for 4 weeks, and at that point then we both just said, we were just like, we're not prepping next year. Like the timeline just doesn't, if I had like finished the diet like in a responsive great place, and then I'd reversed out of the diet like, and it was going well, then you know, I would probably be like at least 2 months ahead of where I am right now, which would mean like I'd have another 3 or 4 months, right, of a surplus / maintenance until prep. But now I feel like I'm only just getting back into training, and if I was to start prep in 2 months, there's no way my body would respond, and there's no way I would look any different to kind of what I looked like last year. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I almost was nodding along. I definitely do think you would look different, and I'm not saying that to be up your arse or to be a friend.
Not different enough for me to be like, yes. You know?
Yeah, I was just about to add that on, of like, you would look different, but not to the extent that you could be. And you know what, I not that you need my kind of approval, but I completely understand that reasoning, and I think it makes complete sense.
Like, I would love to be like, oh, yeah, like I'm getting back on stage this year, but I just know like that isn't going to bring the best look that we can achieve like as our first prep together. So like, we actually haven't had the conversation or said it to each other, but we both know that we're not prepping this year. It's really weird. Like, we haven't explicitly said like we're not prepping, but then we've also said like, oh, we'll do another diet at the end of the year. Like, so next year, providing everything goes to plan, which it just means for me, like I can actually just focus on just being there for other people again this year, which I love. Like, focus on judging, focus on helping run the MBW show, just like stuff like that, which obviously like I love just as much as prepping anyway. But
wait, did you just say running the NBW show?
Well, like helping out. Like, I don't know what we'll be doing, but like I'll be there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's exciting. Well, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, like
not
I have no idea if we're gonna. I know AJ wants us involved, but I don't know how. So like, I will be there. I don't know what I'll be doing, but maybe
because the what?
Maybe I'll just be like escorting people backstage. Like,
You'll just be like, this way. Maybe you'll do guest posing.
No. Right? Female guest posing is not the same. Like, I'm very much all for like, let's like women, whatever. But I think like men in off season hold body fat so much better than females do. Like, natural females in off season just look fat. Like, I'm sorry.
Imagine, I'm sorry, but you're so right. Like, imagine if I was like 83 kilo, like peak off season Hannah, and I just go up on stage, like, they'd be like, I'm sorry, are you lost?
Honestly, like, I'm all for equality. I'm all for like, you know, come on, like big up the girls, but like just know, like men in off season look jacked. Like, if Ethan was to get on stage at like peak body weight, he'd still look pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if I got on stage at peak body weight, like there'd just be cellulite everywhere.
That means that you say that, right? I would love to guest pose. Like, I wrote that on my little list of, like, I say it's not necessarily a year goal, but like a life goal. I want to guest pose so bad. But
if I was like in a diet, not necessarily like stage lean, but at least just like some resemblance of, okay, like I look like I train.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exciting though, mate. And I think, obviously, like you just said, it means you can just focus on getting strong again and kind of almost reverse out of this now. Because if you came back from America like the same body weight, what's your body weight saying now, like after the Christmas period and stuff?
Well, it's really weird because I got back from America, obviously the same body weight, and I actually held that body weight for the post-America period. I held it through Bucharest as well, which was like 2 weeks after. and then I held it, and then a week after Bucharest, AJ put up food. I was like, right, we actually need to put on weight now, because at that point it had been almost 5 weeks since I finished my diet, and I was the same weight as when I finished the diet, right? So then he put up food, and since that food increase, my body weight has just shot up. Like, I'm only 146 this morning, so like £4 that people are, it's not much, but like considering I was 142 for like 6 weeks straight, and in the last 2 weeks I'm now 146. Like, I think my body is like really confused, because like my aura every day is just really angry. Like my like heart rate and things are like all over the place. Like, I think for me, I'm really sensitive. Like, you make a tiny increase and my body weight will just go up. So it'll be interesting to see what he says tomorrow, because he may have to pull it back down. I don't know. We'll see.
I would say, to be honest, mate, maybe yes, the body weight has gone up, but like at the end of the day, if your training still isn't there, like if anything, maybe it's a body weight increase that you do need to like get your body back. You know what I mean? Like to get it healthy. And
everyone has like their point, right? Where like they are. I think if we weren't bodybuilders, that's the weight. I always say the point is like the weight your body's like happy at. You know, it performs well. You know, you're not hungry. Like, it's hormonally in a great spot. And that point for me is always about 150 pounds. Like 153 is probably like the sweet spot, but like anywhere from 150 is where it's like, okay, I'm happy, you know, like I can do what you want me to do. So I think like when it knows it's like almost gaining weight, it just wants to get there. Do you ever find that? It's like it knows like it's like the instructions have gone to my brain like, okay, now we're in a surplus. So it's like, okay, I need to get to 150.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
My body's like that with 70 kilo.
Yeah.
It's so like crazy. 70 for me, like my body's like, we're happy here. And it'll always like be like pushing to try and get there. So with that then, I guess you'll just be continuing this phase. The what?
Go on. I was going to move it on to you, but you can carry on and then we can go.
I was going to just tie it up of like, I guess you're going to just basically push all the way until a mini cut at the end of the year then.
Well, it'll be pre-prep, won't it? So I guess push until like September, August, maybe September. It depends, you know, when we stop responding. And then we'll do a pre-prep and then prep next year if all goes to plan. I need to plan it a little bit with work because I want to do some things with work as well that I need to like tie in not being on prep, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work at some point.
Amazing. So you're not sure about whether it'd be an early season or late season?
Yeah, I haven't really thought that far ahead because like for me right now,
it's very far.
It's also just like it doesn't matter right now. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It probably will end up being at the end of the season, but we'll just see. We'll see. I do need to run for a wee.
Okay.
The post leg day week. Do you want to start talking about your prep? I'll still be able to hear you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I love how you can still hear me on the toilet. Right, so updates from me basically. Last time we did speak, I discussed about the fact that I had changed plans. I wasn't going to be stepping on stage in April, May, just down to the fact that I was enjoying the phase that I was currently in, and my body was responding like in a way that I wanted to take advantage of it, in all honesty. Not only that, there was a few things that were just happening in the background, like personal life, business life, that I needed to put my focus into, like, you know, make sure that my headspace was in the right headspace. So you've mentioned, Z, like with sometimes it's just like you can look at your life and be like, it's just not right now. But that being said, I think I'm something along the lines of like 14 weeks post diet.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like why am I counting? But the reason why I calculated that the other day was because I'm only 3 kilo up.
Nice.
That for me is massive.
Yeah.
Like like we've just spoke about, like my body weight very easily is like, oh, we're going up now. Okay, let's go. Right. And I've been having off plans every week. For example, over that Christmas week, I actually had 4 off plans. And I'm still, a respectable body weight or respectable like body weight increase. So I had my check-in yesterday, and Cuba was actually very nice words, which was quite nice, like to hear. He basically said like he thinks that this is the best stint of progress that we've ever had, and
I'll actually sick as well, like really good.
I can like look at them and be like, sick, cool, like buzzing. Yes, we can always like want more, but I think that this last off season, and when I say this last off season, I'm obviously speaking like what, a year and a year 4 months or a year 3 months or whatever it is, not just post diet. I feel I finally got the density that I need to get to the level of lean I need to hold on to the tissue, right? Hopefully. We'll see. So which it sounds probably a little like too long for some people, but at the same time, everyone has their own plans in place and their own reasonings for it, etc. Cuba's decided that I'm going to be starting prep in around 7 weeks. So it'll be like, I wasn't expecting it. In my head, I was like, oh, probably maybe April, end of Feb. Like I think the reasoning is behind it, like,
you can just if anything, slow rate of loss, like and this is your lifestyle anyway. I always think that like nothing changes, right?
Exactly. And I think that's where, like, if people hear it in their head, like, oh, however many weeks it is going to be, like, I don't know, it could be even 30-week prep to what people think it will be. They'll be like, whoa, that's such a long prep. That's so detrimental. It's like, no, because it's not going to be, oh, you're starting prep, here's 2 hours of cardio and half your calories. If anything, the first couple of weeks will probably be no off plans. Second week will be like, here's some cardio. Do you know what I mean? It'll be changes like that. And if anything, I think this is going to be necessary to again hold on to as much tissue as possible. So I'm excited. I think hearing him say like 7 weeks, I'm like, shit. Like I was shocked. And I had a little bit of a probably self-sabotage moment of like, I don't want to let anyone down, right? But at the same time, you're not going to let anyone down because they don't care about the end result. I think it's just because I know my physique is so subjective. Like I've kind of almost like come to terms with that. Like, so I think I've had a bit of a word with myself of like, it doesn't matter even if you don't win, right? And I'm not just saying it, even if I don't win, I do truly believe I'm going to bring the best that I physically can this time round.
And that's like all you can do. Like, I always say it, I'd always think it, like at the end of the day, like you can't control who else is there. Like, as long as you bring the best look that you possibly could ever have brought, it's like, it's fine. And I think that's probably what got me through the UKFBA finals was like, don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have won, but like, I've never looked like I had that day. And like, that was literally the best me that I could have ever presented. And like, if that wasn't the placing that, would have taken first, that's fine because like, I would have liked it, but I also like, I couldn't have looked better. And when you know you couldn't have looked better, it's like, okay, I've got peace in the fact that like, that's fine,
Yeah, exactly that. So and if anything, like I'm not thinking, oh my God, that means I've only got 7 weeks left to grow, or what was really great, which I wasn't expecting anyway, but it wasn't, my headspace didn't switch of like, oh my God, I need to eat whatever I can in 7 weeks. Oh, I need to hit this PB in 7 weeks. Like, that isn't my headspace, because nothing, like you've just said, nothing changes. If anything, if the first 20 weeks of my diet, if my like progress in the gym actually slows down, I would be shocked.
Yeah.
Because my last prep, that wasn't the case.
And there's
You
no
know,
reason it needs to until you get like
no.
in the changes. Do you know what I mean? So like the first,
Yeah.
like arguably you could probably still grow in the first like month of prep anyway. So it's just like
Yeah.
it's just one of those where like as a natural female that is aiming for the condition that you're aiming for this year, like time is everything, and like what you don't want to do is realize like 4 weeks out that you still have like 7 or 8 pounds to come off, and then that's when it's detrimental, because that is going to be muscle that you lose. Whereas if you're losing like less than 0.5% a week, like you're not going to be losing any muscle.
Now, if anyone like listening to this is like, wondering maybe like the different approaches of like why people may not take that approach. If you imagine someone that is going into their first prep, and if they were only losing maybe even like £0.5 a week or something like that, that to them, they actually might not be motivated by that. They may think like, like it might be boring to them, right? So I personally believe that you have to maybe be within bodybuilding for a certain level of time to be able to do those different approaches. And I know for a fact as well, Kuba really likes to do a big push and pull for, I say big, but say we do like a stint of maybe 4 or 5 weeks of a deficit, and then filling me up for like a week, and then basically rinse and repeat like that. And again, that keeps your body like nice and fresh, nice and responsive. And it isn't that you're not pushing hard to then get to that refeed week either. You know, it's not there to because you deserve it because of working X amount like as hard as you did. It's there so that your body like keeps like churning away and almost reaching a new level of homeostasis. And I think that's what's so cool. Like, if anything, you get those refeeds or the refresh weeks, and you're hungrier because your body's at that new level then.
In my prep last time with 3DMJ, like from day one, I had 6 low days, 1 refeed, like every week without fail. And like their kind of perspective on it was like they want your body to like stay responsive to being able to like have food in. And I got to like Brian didn't make a change for like the first 20 weeks of the prep, and the only change he made was adding a second refeed day a week, because like my body was just like doing what it needed to do without getting to the point where it was like so depleted. But like back on your point of like first timers, I think like a lot of first timers also like want to just like feel like they're suffering, whereas like you and I, when we prep now, it actually doesn't feel any different for a long time. Like, don't get me wrong, towards the back end of it, like you're dragging your feet a bit, but you're gonna be. But like
those mini cuts were harder. Like, we know those mini cuts were harder.
Because there's nothing at the end of it. I'm like, okay, today I'm dieting, tomorrow I'm not. Like, why? Oh god, that's so exciting though. Like, I'm so excited for like everyone else's prep this year. Like, I'm excited for your prep. I'm excited for Ella's prep. Like, I'm just so excited to like watch everyone else prep that I currently don't have FOMO. Like, I will when it comes to shows, obviously, because you always do when you're watching a show. You're like, oh, okay, I want to be there. But like you saying like, oh, I'm starting prep in 7 weeks, I could not imagine that.
But that's that's so good, because if anything, back in October time, I think it was, when I was thinking, okay, I'm probably going to be starting prep in like November, I was like, no. And again, this is what shows the importance of kind of like fluidity around like the part of the process that you're in. Like, it doesn't mean if your coach is turning around and saying like, yeah, you're not prepping, you know, it doesn't mean that, okay, you're not prepping ever, right? It just means like at that moment in time, you're not in a position that's going to be beneficial. So they're doing it for a good reason. So yeah, I think I'm excited as well, you know, because obviously Ella this time round, she's going in for like a condition that she's never hit before, which is going to be so cool. I'm excited to see that. Who else is competing?
I actually don't know. Like, I don't know many yet. Like, I know.
If you think of the list, wait, is Meg Ralph?
Not this year. No, not this year.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I know. Her plans keep changing, but definitely not this year. I don't actually know many people. Like, I know they'll come as like the thing, like the season goes along. Yeah, like I don't know. I see like some people on Instagram, they're like, "Oh, starting prep," but not like natural. So yeah, I'm not sure at the moment. Don't know who else.
I am doing what I am excited about as well. I am going to be doing some my first like international show.
Nice. Yes. Have you planned like the one that you want to do?
Yeah. So, well, I'm saying I'm going to do it. I need to figure out the rules because they're in another language. I know the posing criteria. That's all I know.
Sorted. Oh, wow.
I mean, we've spoken about it before, haven't we? Like, I really want to do ANBF. That's going to be like a show that I really want to aim for. If anyone listening to this knows the rules or has done ANBF, drop me a message.
Just message like Lara or someone.
I messaged her before. Actually, I think I'll message Yana. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do that. And then I'm thinking of doing an NPC, like international one.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Like go to another international show this year. Like it'll probably end up being like maybe with BMBF or something. Like maybe go with them. Either like judge or watch because I feel like that would be fun. But I definitely like I love Denmark so much that like I want to go again. Maybe I'll come watch yours.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, come to Switzerland. But yeah, I mean, again, I would be going both of those like absolutely zero expectations. Like even the NPC one, I'm not choosing the NPC because there's going to be no one there. You know how people choose the NPC because they're like, oh, there'll be like 3 people, so I'll get a pro card. That is not the vibe. I want to actually go to one of the biggest stages in the world.
Just to do it, like to have fun.
Have you seen, like, you know, like Romania Muscle Fest, you know, like M-Pro Classic, like there's stages where you're like, that's a stage. That's not a hall.
You go there and you're like this is cool. Not like just a red, but I got a gold medal.
Yeah. And then obviously, ANBF, that is, in my opinion, probably the best natural competitors in the world. Like, it's not a final, but it doesn't matter.
Unreal, isn't it?
The stand, because there's something in that water. I'll stand by that.
European water is different.
It is, man. It is.
Honestly, madness. And even just like watching some of them in off season, I'm like, how do you lift that?
Yeah.
Like, I have 100 kilos on the bar and I feel like I'm gonna snap. And then
mate.
250 like off the floor, and I'm like,
yeah. I'm still RDLing 100. That's all I got.
Same. Oh,
no, that's good.
Very exciting though. Very exciting.
But yeah,
I think the first natty show is like May, isn't it? Like the MBW.
Yeah, well, there's also a lot of PCA natural shows this year as well.
Is the natural finals this year?
Yes, there's a natural finals. I think obviously this year as well, it'll be very interesting to see the NPC naturals, how that's going to play out, with obviously the fact that they're wanting to take the kind of pro league down that route too. Obviously, we've got the introduction of fit model category as well this year. That'll be quite interesting to see who turns up, see who partakes, and see how the judging for that goes. Obviously, starting a new category, it can go one way or the other, where you can get people just turning up basically not even dieted. So
yeah, I think that's the problem with that category, like for the first year running, is like there'll just be such a mix of people on stage.
It was like wellness like 2 years ago though.
it just takes time to like marinate and actually like find like what an ideal is, you know. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Like
this show calendar is like, oh, by the way, this is not 2 liters of tango that I'm drinking, it's squash. just like chinning that for the digestion. But yeah, the show calendar's out. I think Compact put something up basically like it's 70 days until the season starts.
Oh, I'm genuinely excited.
And then of course I think Beyond the Stage is like a new little segment that are now being able to kind of
cover everything, aren't they?
Cover everything, yeah. So oh, here we go actually. Their most recent pinned post is I think some natural show dates. Oh wait, no, it's not even natural. It's collaborated with Natty News Daily, so I thought it was natural show dates. But they've got basically a show day calendar as that first one, and it's like, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 6 slides. So yeah, UK and Ireland dates, there's loads on there, which is going to be a very big year. I reckon this is the biggest year for bodybuilding ever.
I think every year is like the biggest, but we've also got like the introduction of like the OCB in the UK as well. Is that what's called the Cup qualifier? Like that is going to be really interesting to see like how that goes and you know like what they do with that. And
I will. Yeah, I'll be there. Like I need to be. I want to watch that. Like it's in London, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be really interesting. And then you've obviously got the MBW doing their first proper show, which I'm excited for as well.
Yes.
All of the like normal ones. WMBF is going to be on 2 days. Like, it's just so much going on.
Yeah. It should be really exciting. And obviously, guys, we'll be covering it all. No, not covering it all. Let's be honest.
Not when Hannah gets in the trenches. We'll have to do some solo coverages.
Mate, I'll be fine. I'll just be like, yeah. Yeah. No. It'll be mega.
Wow. Is there anything you want to chat about? Or do you want to
well, mate, that's an hour. We've done well. I think we should leave it there.
Yeah, honestly, I just knew we didn't even have a plan. We're like, we'll just chat. And there you go, an hour deep just chatting. But I guess like over the next few weeks we can like get some topics going again before the shows kick off. We'll get some guests on this year as well.
Yes.
So let us know what you guys like want to see, and obviously thank you as always for your support.
Yes, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, Spotify, YouTube. Tell your mom, Rue, we're back.
Yeah, Rue, we're back. Tell your mom. Notifications on.
That's it, exactly. But yeah, thanks again for listening, guys, if you did get to the end of this, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.